Good morning, Mayor Margo.
Morning.
Okay, so I know you are a crazy busy person right now because of everything that's going on with the COVID response with the city and the county, but we need to find out some information about how you feel being given this whole extra week by the governor to, slow down a little bit about reopening further. What do you feel about that?
Well, I think it's prudent. I would not be in favor with any longer delays. We need to get we're dealing with health and we're dealing with our humanity, and with that is the need to get people back and employed and paid and commerce started up again, and us trying to get our economy at least started. As I said before, I think we're going to have to rebuild it, but we've got to start somewhere, and the sooner we can start, the better off we're going to be.
Can I just say that I'm very surprised because, for the longest time, you were more lives over livelihood.
Well, I'm still that way in the general balance of things, and this is that unequal balance I've talked about. But I was at the food bank on Monday. We're feeding 140,000 El Pasoans at our food banks. Mm-hmm. We can't continue that way. They told me at the El Paso's Fighting for Hunger food bank, and there's Kelly and there's El Paso Hunger, and they told me they had a record number on Friday of over 8,000 families.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to find that balance. I don't know that anything's going to change until we have a vaccine. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to just learn how to deal with social distancing and the wearing of face covers, and you don't shake hands, you don't hug, and you just got to develop that. But there is confusion out there, and if y'all can help me clarify it, if you're going to a restaurant, if you're out exercising, if you're walking with your family, you don't need to wear a face covering. But if you're going to a store and you're going shopping, you're going whether the grocery or otherwise, you ought to be wearing a face covering. There seems to be confusion out there. We need to get our economy back started. You certainly don't sit at a restaurant and eat and drink with a face covering. It's not done. It's common sense.
Okay, now let me ask you a question, because you're seeing all over social media people who are giving stores and places like maybe Costco or Albertsons or things like that. They're giving people a hard time at the door about wearing a face mask. In other words, the customers are. Now, people keep saying, this is America. This is public property. Now, can a store say, if you want to come in here, you have to wear a mask per our protocols?
Yes, a store can say that.
Okay.
A store can say that. We've had issues where people, I think there was a couple of weeks ago, a couple of Walmart's individuals, the Walmart's, the individuals would not put on face covering and were talked to, but Walmart let them in. We're not dealing with martial law here, for Pete's sake. We're just trying to deal with public health and protocols that we know. The only thing we know for sure about this virus is that it is spread by contact. Mm-hmm. And so to the extent we can stop that contact, and face coverings protect others from you.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you, because you talked about, face coverings, restaurants, those photos that were, published a couple of weeks ago of you. I know that photos are a moment in time. Of those photos, what is it that you would like to, expound on that,
and clarify
that it didn't show us, because it was made to be such a scandal by that news station.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the news station never even contacted me before they did the story, and they didn't read the declaration from the governor, which said restaurants. That was the point at which restaurants could open at 25%.
Yeah.
You were to have no more than 6 at a table, and you needed to have at least 6 feet space between the tables. And we were abiding by that. It was the first night, and I wanted to go out and support. And 2 individuals came by to actually compliment me on my work as mayor, and then walked away. And an individual took the picture and for whatever reason submitted it. My assumption is he's not one of my fans.
Yeah.
But that's just a guess.
I will have you know, Mayor Margo.
Just a guess.
I want you to know that I'm not allowed at that country club, so it wasn't me.
Well, it's just and here we are trying to get people to, if you're comfortable. I mean, I talked yesterday with my Economic Recovery Task Force. There's going to have to be consumer confidence. And by consumer confidence, I mean you're going to have to feel comfortable in going to that restaurant or that store or place of business, wherever it is. And it's up to them to the proprietors, the owners, to make sure people are feeling comfortable. And I think people get that. But we got to get this. I mean, this polarization back and forth has got to go away. We're dealing with a pandemic that affects everybody.
Yeah,
the most vulnerable are the older. The nursing homes are still there, but the governor is starting to reopen where we are. We're just one day late.
Now, and do you really think a week, though? Do you really think a week is going to make much of a difference in anything?
Well, the 29th should give us some feedback on what happened on Mother's Day. That's our concern on a spike. We had a spike after Easter. We did our best to implore that people don't go visit your family in Juarez. Stay here. Go visit your mom later after all this or whatever, back and forth family gatherings.
They didn't listen.
No,
I know, but we don't know where we are in the spikes yet for that. But I feel like we get through that spike and Memorial Day, which just puts us past Memorial Day a little bit. We'll get good data, but we've ramped up the testing. We've tested almost 3% of our population as of, I think, Tuesday.
Is that a big deal? Because 3% doesn't sound like a lot at
all. Well, but the goal was to get to 5% as soon as possible. And with the National Guard test sites, which started a week ago Monday, so we're into their second week. We got 5 of those.
Yeah.
That's San Leandro, Rosario, Fabens, Horizon, Montana Vista, and Benton. And then when I called the governor for help a week ago Friday, he sent in his strike force to help us. They set up 4 mobile test sites, and we set those up where we had hot spots, where we had a high prevalence of positives. And those, so we're testing now well over 1,000 El Pasoans every day.
Well, 5%, though, that doesn't sound like a lofty goal.
Well, that was kind of the numbers that were coming out of the medical experts in Washington and elsewhere, and saying, you need to have at least 5% of your population, and we think we'll have that before the end of June.
Okay, so we had 5 deaths announced yesterday. Is that kind of the holdover from Mother's Day? Is that why we're seeing that sudden jump?
No, I don't think that's necessarily Mother's Day. That's probably what was probably occurring before. It could be some. But I want to, for your listeners' sake, the majority of the deaths, the tragedy of those deaths, are occurring with people who are either diabetic or have hypertension, which is high blood pressure. Mm-hmm. That's the vast majority of the underlying conditions, and there have been only 2 of the deaths we've had that didn't have any susceptible underlying conditions. But obesity is not considered an underlying condition, and we have, unfortunately, a prevalence of that, and heavy smoking or drinking, that they don't, medical protocols don't consider that, or the criteria doesn't consider that underlying, when it very well may be an underlying condition. But do you want me to go through what the governor has said he's going to open up, that will open up on the 29th for us?
Sure.
Well, before you do that, though, I would like to ask, so what's it going to take as far as numbers that you see by or on or before the 29th that will make you question the governor about reopening phase 2? Because when we heard the governor talk to one of the local news stations, it didn't seem like he's going to slow his roll any. I think he said that if he sees numbers climb, right? Yeah, I think he said if he sees numbers climb, he's just going to make sure that there are more beds for people that need them. But it didn't sound like he was really leaving open the possibility of extending the reopening to a later date.
The critical 3 factors that you look at to see how we're doing are the hospitalizations, the number in our intensive care units, and the number of people on ventilators. Those are the numbers you look at. We're going to have increased positives. The more testing you do, the more positives you're going to have. And a great number of those are asymptomatic, meaning they're not really showing anything. They test positive, but they're not ill per se.
Mm-hmm.
And so don't disregard the positive, but don't let that be your driver on, well, how are we doing?
Okay.
So watch the hospitalizations, ICUs, and ventilators.
Okay.
The governor has told me that he will guarantee that if we have a problem and with hospital rooms or ICUs or whatever, that he will help us set up all the facilities we need to make sure we're taken care of. But the 29th gives us the opportunity to just see what are we going to looking at from any type of spikes that we may need to deal with and plan appropriately.
Okay, so and since UMC is already saying that they're getting close to capacity, so it kind of sounds like what's going to happen is we're going to open a little bit more on the 29th, but if need be, there will be like this new facility that they bought up the street from us.
Yeah,
Right.
They'll
From here
move
at the
people.
they'll just move people
They'll
around.
bring out the tents.
Yeah.
That kind of
Right,
stuff.
right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And the other, remember, what we do is we aggregate all the hospitals. Now, UMC is the primary recipient to begin with, so they're going to have more rooms taken probably than the Providence hospitals or the Del Sols and Las Palmas and all that. But we aggregate all of that together to determine where we are. And right now, the word I got yesterday from one hospital CEO is we're fine.
Okay.
We're fine.
So, Mayor Margo, when was the last time you and Dr. Ocaranza and the county judge were tested?
Well, the county judge, I thought he told me, and I'm getting ready to be tested. We talked about that yesterday. I thought I'd test maybe both, just for the heck of it. But, I get my temperature checked every day when I enter, if I go to City Hall or any of the places, and, I'm not experiencing anything, and I have no temperature or any symptoms that would require. But I thought I might as well go ahead and get tested too. So that's in the works.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Cool.
And I thought I'd do both of them just for the sake of argument. But
Well, if you'd like to come over, we'll do it for you and Facebook Live it.
it looks I don't want to be. It looks pretty painful.
Yeah, I know. That's
Okay.
why I would like to Facebook Live it. I've
Now
got some
see-
swabs right here.
Yeah, that's a 2 or 3 inches up there. I mean, it's
No, it's 6 inches actually.
Yeah, 6 inches.
And
We looked into that.
I saw the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo. He did his live in a press conference. So, sir, there you go.
Yeah.
The precedent has been set.
Yeah, and he challenged you. He challenged you to come have it done here.
yeah. It's all good. Let's have a group photo.
Yes.
You first.
That looked good.
Yeah, I'll save one of our Kiss FM face masks for you.
Yeah.
Just everybody, let's tilt our heads up and let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. It's a deal. Okay. All right. One last question, Mayor Margo.
Yeah.
One last question. On the 29th, when the bars reopen, which is the first one you're going to hit up?
The nearest one, probably.
The nearest one. Exactly.
But remember, restaurants are going to get to go to 50% on the 29th.
Right.
Bars
Okay.
at 25%. Bowling alleys and bingo halls can open up. Drive-in concerts, amateur sport events without any crowds.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like fun.
And then you'll get the outdoor. The zoos can operate at 25%, so we can get that going.
But when do I get to get a massage and a tattoo?
Well, I don't know about the tattoo, but the massages you can do on the 29th.
Okay.
Hey, all
That's
right.
a 1 week delay. And then on June 1st, or May 31st, the governor said May 31st, professional basketball, baseball, softball, golf, tennis, football, car racing events with no spectators can open up, and youth camps can open up, youth sports programs.
Okay.
So we're moving ahead, and I think we're going to have to figure out how to live with this thing till we get a vaccine.
Yeah.
Right. And
Looks
for
that
God's
way.
sake, wear your face mask, everybody.
real.
Jeez.
Well, wear it around there, but don't go overboard on when you're out there. When you're out there, going to a restaurant or jogging or walking with your family and don't feel you've got to do it. Some do it. I've seen them walking around the neighborhoods with their mom. That's fine if they want to, but you're not required.
Okay.
It sounds like there are more pictures of Mayor Margo, and that's why he keeps telling us this.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's cruel, guys.
Not guys,
That's
just
cruel.
Mike.
You're affecting my self-esteem. I know that.
I love you.
You
That's
know
why I
we're
tease you.
and we're really worried about your self-esteem,
That's
sir.
why we
Come on
tease
now.
you.
Yeah, join the crowd on the beat down. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I'm going to send you one of our Kiss FM masks.
Okay.
So that you can, wear it in whatever picture comes out next.
Okay. Be happy to.
All right. Thank you,
All
Mayor.
right.
Thanks,
Thank you
Mayor.
all. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
He's a good sport.
He can be, yes.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. Mike and Tricia mornings on 93.1 KISS FM. Facebook Fight Wednesday. Hang on for another Facebook fight. You are about 5 minutes away.
I think